KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV, MTK Global. Yes, after our interview the other day, we are now in a position to announce Chris Eubank's next fight date and opponent. Over to you, Mr. Kalle Sauerland.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to welcome Chris Eubank Jr. back in the UK, May the 1st, exclusively on Sky Sports pay-per-view in the UK. And he'll be facing Marcus Morrison from the UK, and looking very forward to see Chris back on the big stage in the UK. A tough domestic name in his first fight in 15 months, and actually 16 months, and yeah, couldn't be happier. It sets up. It's a tough fight, but we hope it sets up a fantastic year. As we said, it's this fight, and then we move on to the summer. But first of all, we got to focus on this fight, and then move on to the big one over the summer as well.
So obviously, May the 1st, yeah, headlined by Chisora and Parker, Matchroom pay-per-view. So yeah, was it important to kind of get Chris on that kind of stage pay-per-view back in the UK, because he's not obviously fought in the UK for quite some time, and he's not fought for quite some time, but especially in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, you know, Chris Eubank Jr.'s last performance in the UK was beating James DeGale on pay-per-view. So to bring him back, you know, after over 2 years of being away from the UK, it had to be the big stage. We looked at lots of different options, but this was by far what we felt was the big stage he needed. Remembering that, you know, it was a fight where we needed someone who's going to give him tough rounds, but someone that we believe that Chris will beat. It's going to be a tough fight, but have full faith in Chris in that fight. And it's going to, you know, it's always something special when it's a domestic fight as well. So I think all those factors put in there. He didn't want to go and fight, you know, someone who's a walkover and box on an undercard somewhere. He wanted a big stage fight, and to take the big stage fight, you've got to take certain risks. And Marcus Morrison certainly isn't without being a risk. He's a very tough opponent for the type of fight that normally fighters would take. So my experience of promoting different types of fighters, you know, I've got to say one thing. Chris Eubank Jr. You don't have to talk long when it comes to opponents. It's sort of like, you fancy him, is he okay? But yeah, it was almost like, why are you asking, sort of thing. It was a very easy discussion, quick fix, and you know, I think it'll be a very entertaining fight.
Well, yeah, Marcus Morrison obviously trained by Joe Gallagher, so yeah,
my old friend Joe, yeah, who you know, I mean, he's obviously had many champions, and he's a top pedigree trainer. Normally likes his mind games and the build up as well, so looking forward to that. But I think the master of mind games is Eubank Jr. So I think if Joe wants to pull that one out of the box, then I'm sure Junior will be ready. And I think it's, you know, it's always more interesting when you do fights like this to have a domestic names against each other. You know, it makes things a lot easier. The press conferences are interesting. The media events are interesting around it. You have a good build up. You know, I'm sure Joe will have his fair say on things. You know, and I think it sets up for a terrific fight on May 1st.
Well, we'll look forward to it. Stats card on May the 1st. So pay-per-view. We'll look forward to it. And obviously, yeah, the return of...
Absolutely. Eubank Jr. is back. That's the message. Eubank Jr. is back. And now it's time to walk the walk.
Okay, Kalle, thanks again for your time. And yeah, like I said, we'll look forward to May the 1st. Peace out.